Good morning. It's me, drinking my green tea. Okay, we're rolling on this again. Okay, I took a brief vacation. Now we're going to start rolling all this on again. I'm rolling this again, but I lost, I lost a lot of 10, the 10 or 20 people that were listening to me. But we're going to keep on this anyway. Okay, so we're back in the saddle here. Okay, and this is a beautiful day in California, and I'm very happy to be alive. I was at the park. A couple quick notes. I was at the park, and I go to this park and I ground. I get some coffee. I sit and stand after I take a swim. Beautiful thing to do. And there was this little baby there that was in a crib, or not a crib, but a stroller cribby kind of a thing. And her tender, was doing her hair, and she was kind of leaning outward, looking right at me as I was stretching. And I was looking at her beautiful little face, just this beautiful little face she had with these little blue eyes and colored cheeks. And I felt as though I was looking at a miracle, And it was just the intense realization of one of the examples of a realization of how miraculous this world truly is. And this little girl's face is peering out at me as she's getting her hair done by her minder. And it was so striking. And I thought, wow, what a blessing to be able to understand what a true miracle something simple as that is. What I've done recently too, I recently got a hummingbird feeder, and I have been tending to it and getting sugar water. I'm surprised that sugar water is good for hummingbirds. It's weird, but it is true. I looked into it a couple times, and that's exactly what they need for the energy they need to buzz around. And I'm starting to develop a relationship with these hummingbirds as they come, and there more and more of them are coming, and they come and they check things out, and they sit for a minute, and they partake of the liquid, the syrup, the liquid nectar, and then they're on their way, But I'm getting to the point where I'm loving them. Falling in love with the hummingbirds. Really, I could name this video that. And it is quite interesting process, and I recommend all of you get a hummingbird feeder and start feeding the hummingbirds. I'm starting to experiencing love in ways that I didn't experience it before. Okay, and whether that's that baby in the park or the hummingbirds that are starting to come around and checking me out as I'm out there, I'm stretching, and they come and they look, and they don't know if they should take some, and they don't know if they trust me anymore, but they're starting to trust me more and more because they see me out there stretching, and it's becoming a love, in love. I'm becoming in love with these hummingbirds, and just ways of finding love in this world where it wasn't so apparent before. Okay, and it is becoming more and more evident to me, especially as I fall from my head into my heart, opening up this heart chakra wide, and living this heart resonance each and every moment throughout the day, each and every eternal now moment of the day. Okay, we find things. Then we may not feel love for everything. We may not feel love with situations in life or all of life, but we begin to tap into and draw towards us things that make us feel love. And the hummingbirds and that little baby in the park, I feel love when I'm in the presence of these situations. And I didn't feel that before. Okay? Now, a heart-centered being of light, that is what we are doing here. I'm going to do a more complete explanation next video, a reminder of what I've been up to. All of this, what I've been doing, is my own way of adjusting to this new higher frequency the Earth is rising toward. And it is my own process. I'm making this up as I go along. to adjust to these higher frequencies and make it into the fifth dimension, because that's what's going on right now. The Earth is rising to the fifth dimension, love-based unity consciousness, and we have to be able to start matching that frequency, otherwise we're not going to make it. Okay, we'll be shuttled to another place in the 3D world, because because not we're being punished, but because it just is a matter of frequency matching, frequency resonance. We won't be resonating at that frequency any longer, and we won't be able to stay here. You understand that? That's what this is about. This is what's at stake here. And we start to take this thing seriously. I have becoming then, in my process, a heart-centered being of light, is what I call it. Using light and love as the tools of interaction to all those I come in contact with, okay? We're alchemizing this experience of life. As I begin to convalesce, coalesce, and convene around the jewel and the light that is my heart, as it begins opening more and more, I am becoming an alchemist. I'm alchemizing life. And all the experience am I having in a way that wasn't apparent to me before. This process, you begin to realize and turn life into a precious exploration, as opposed to a humdrum, old consciousness, mundane life that I was suffering from for years, for decades, into this new alchemizing life, turning life into a precious, dynamic experience, lively, not one dead moment after another, one life moment in each and every eternal now moment, with this new reality I'm creating, this new inner life, which is projected out into the world around me, of a light-centered being of love, okay? A heart-centered being of light and love, okay? That's basically it. We begin, like I say, when we start to do this, we begin to alchemize the world around us, and being able to experience it the way it was intended for us to experience, not in the old mundane, walking zombie way, but in this new life that I am becoming privy to and creating with my efforts and the things I've been doing. Once again, this is my own program. We begin to almost magically, as we get good at this, we begin to magically transform the people around us. If they're in because they have come across us, they begin to perk up and they begin to say, wow, this guy doesn't really vibrate at the frequency that everybody else is vibrating at. He is different, and I feel better being around him and having access to his frequency in however that happens, even if it's saying hello in a coffee shop, holding a door open for somebody, striking up a conversation in a line with somebody. We begin to alchemize life and alchemize them as our strength and power of our vibrancy and frequency begins to affect all those and everyone around us. Some people aren't going to take to it very well. The lower vibration people are going to look at what we're becoming here as kind of a threat. And they're not. It's going to rub them the wrong way. It's going to rub their frequency the wrong way where they're sitting, and they're going to want to come up with ways of attacking or pulling us down, so they can be comfortable with us. Okay, that we're not in the fray anymore. We're not playing the game anymore. We're becoming a new human being, stepping out of this illusion, social conscious illusion, and begin to look at a life beyond that. What is it apparent to the secrets and the love and the life behind what we thought was the real reality, and when we get good at this, realize it wasn't really a reality at all. There was this metaphor. This eagle had been being mended. This woman took this eagle because it was hurt, and it was mended at this facility, and it stayed there for a while until it was time to let go. I just love stories like this. And they let the eagle go. Okay, now right away, as the eagle was starting to fly, all these crows, 3 or 4 crows came around and started pestering this eagle. But the eagle didn't do anything. He got to an upward draft and just floated up higher and higher to the point where the crows couldn't follow him. Okay, so he how the seagulls, how the birds will do. They'll get an upward draft and they'll go around and it'll just lift them, high, really high in the air. And so he rose above the level that the crows could follow him. What a beautiful metaphor. That's what we have to do. We have to be like that eagle. We have to soar to these new vibrational frequency heights, and we are no longer affected, or people are no longer, their ways and means no longer really affected us. We are able to see them and apprehend them, but not be affected by them and not resist them. Just say, okay, fine. That's what you want to be, and I see you for what you are, and I'm not playing that game anymore. Okay, I'm simply not playing that game anymore. All right. It requires us to be centered in the spaciousness, the stillness, and the silence within. That's what we're looking for: spaciousness, stillness, and silence within. And that changes us also as we open up that heart and turn inward and start delving around in that sacred heart. We sense greater stillness, silence, and inner spaciousness. And it begins to change us. I know that if the TV's on, I know I turn off that TV. I'll watch a little bit of sports every once in a while. I won't have the sound on. I don't like the sound. Okay, I'll be able to watch the visual, but I don't want to hear the sound. I notice that when I turn that TV off, I can tell the difference in my personal peace and stillness and silence. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling. I kind of like, you just kind of let a breath out, and you can see and feel the noise of this world and how it affects you in ways that you didn't see before. Okay, I don't really go to, definitely don't go to bars or where a bunch of people are. It's just too much noise, really. Although sometimes, that stuff can be kind of fun. So I'm not saying don't partake in that sort of thing. I'm just saying, though, as we develop the stillness and silence within us, which is what my part of my process is, and we're going to get into what I've been doing next video. As we develop this stillness and this silence, things we begin to want as we get out in nature and do the things that grounding and do the things we didn't so much do before but are doing now. The stillness and the silence and the healingness in the stillness and the silence, and the development, inner development of this stillness, silence, and spaciousness is way more noticeable and way more healthy, and we begin to gravitate toward that. As I'm standing out in the mountains I go to, and I'm just apprehending the trees and the birds and the sounds of the birds and the water lapping up in this little lake. It's a reservoir, really, but it's as big as a lake. And the stillness and the silence, and you realize how healing and centering, and this is what I'm looking for here, feeling. That is what we're looking for when I do the breathing techniques I've spoken of before and meditate out there. I stand up and walk around, and I say to myself, not all the time, but enough of the time, saying, this is the meaning of life right here. When I do that breathing, and you're out of your head now, and you're flushed into the energy of your body, not only your body, but the energy around you. Your consciousness now is in that energy. I say, this is the meaning of life right here. Meaning isn't going to be found in doing anything. Although that can be part of it. Mainly, though, meaning is in beingness. And as I achieve this beingness in nature through doing breathing, and I'll be able to eventually do this without having to work at it, because I work 2 hours of breathing and meditation out there that takes me to a new place. I love it. It's not work. It's a wonderful thing to do. The breath is a wonderful thing to begin to work with, and to begin to get you to places where you were trapped in your mind before, the heaviness of the mind reality, into the lighter, more reality of the body energy, heart-centered reality. See, that's what we're doing. We're crafting that. We're making that happen. And it's I'm an explorer. Okay, I'm on an expedition of my own making, of getting to love-centered, love-based unity consciousness, which is what we're headed for in the fifth dimension. We begin to implement new standards then, with the societal interactions, with authenticity and care as we reach out and speak with others and relax into it. We begin to have live interactions. You know how we go through life and have conversations, or I have in the past, and they're not real live. You're just doing it. Okay, you're just doing it because it's done. And you part of you is saying, I can't wait till I get out of this conversation so I can get back to being myself. I'm beginning to take this authenticity, that's being developing, this care and this textural tenderness into these conversations, and relaxing into it, and very much beginning to feel as though my interactions are becoming alive now, not dead, as a matter of a routine, matter of mundane things habit that we just do, beginning to have live interactions that are nourishing. My interactions for decades weren't nourishing. I was just doing it because that's what we do. But they're nourishing now, and I couldn't tell you how happy I am about that. Our growing inner light will dissolve negative energies. I've kind of touched on that. Our growing inner light and growing inner peace, and as it begins to be expressed outwardly through the open heart chakra, we begin to dissolve negativities around us. What I even when I was a kid, at a certain time, when I was 14, 15, 16, I would come across certain situations where I felt so positive, and so grounded, really. And these were fairly rare because being a teenager is not no easy thing to do. But I'd pop into these spaces, and I felt as I could dissolve any hassles. You walk into a room and people are arguing, or people are hassling, or people coming at you and wanting to fight, or whatever it was. You could run into a lot of shit back then. I felt as though my positive force would dissolve any negative energies, and it wouldn't manifest. Okay, they wanted to. Some guy would come up to me, and I could tell he wanted to say something nasty to me, but I was at a rate, vibrating at a frequency rate that he couldn't say it. They couldn't follow it through, and I knew at the time what he was going to do, but he couldn't do it because it just wouldn't allow my beingness wouldn't allow that stuff. You see, so we begin to, that's what I say about alchemizing. We begin to alchemize the world around us through this new positive energy as we fall out of this mind, as we fall into this heart. We open up this heart wide, and we allow these energies to the open flame of our heart resonance to begin to affect and alchemize everybody around us. Do you see? Let's cut this off right here. This is nice. I want to keep this short. So this is a beginning again on these talks and explain to you the progress I've made over the last 8 months and what I've been really focused on the last 8 months. The next video is going to say that. So this is very nice. My name is Jeff Africa. I'm a citizen of Earth, loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I stand unafraid. And these four, Jeshua ben Joseph, Yogananda, Mother Earth, and Divine Mother, I have enlisted these four to help me get to this open heart chakra. I've learned one thing over the last 8 months. It's not an easy thing to do. And you're going to need some divine grace to get it completely done, to be completely divine. A sense of our own divinity that lies in our open heart. Okay, you're gonna need a little help, and these four I've enlisted to help me get to where we all want me to be, loving, heart-centered being of light, using the tools of light and love in all my interactions to everyone I meet and everyone I come across, even the trees and the birds. And is becoming alive has become very, very nice these days. That's it right now. So thanks for listening. I hope someone comes to listen to this because it's not too bad. and we'll be here again soon. I'll be catching you up exactly what's important to me right now. Thank you so very much. I love you all. Bye.